So, of course, if you watched the game last night, you already know that Stanley Cup playoffs, sports, that kind of stuff, very stressful, and it's actually very serious. So to talk with us about it right now is Dr. Elizabeth Shouldice, emergency room doctor at the Queensway Carleton Hospital. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Wonderful to have you here. Obviously, this is serious, but it's, you know, let's be lighthearted about it because people get a little crazy when it comes to Stanley Cup playoffs and
absolutely,
that kind of stuff. What are the statistics on how many people find this stressful?
So there was a recent survey done by StubHub, and they found that over 50% of Canadians get stressed by hockey playoffs. 21% of people in Ottawa find they're drinking more alcohol. These are real numbers, and this was quite a robust survey of over 3,000 Canadians in hockey cities.
That seems extreme that the people get so carried away.
It does, yeah. But I'm not entirely surprised that that's what the numbers show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it that makes it so stressful? I mean, is it?
Yeah.
Because when you really think about it, nothing's really on the line.
Right.
I mean, our lives aren't on jeopardy. Like,
absolutely,
if the team wins or loses, nothing really changes per se. So why do people get so stressed out?
I think people feel really attached to their hometown teams. It's part of what gives them a sense of community. It's often what they've grown up watching. It's something that they feel quite passionate about. So I think that's part of what makes it so stressful. It also has tremendous entertainment value for people, and it's that not knowing what's going to happen. Last night, you know, in the third period, not knowing, okay, there's, you know, until the last minute, there was a 1-goal separation. So is that going to carry on? It's that sort of thing, I think.
Okay, so 1 in 5 Ottawa residents consume more alcohol, apparently.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of it's probably just social, though.
Yeah. So, you know, I think there has to be a balance, and I think most people who go out to a game who plan on drinking alcohol, and that's not everybody, but those who plan on drinking alcohol might think they're going to have a certain amount. And then you end up in these situations of overtime, double overtime, really stressful periods, and they might consume a little bit more than normal. So that's something I think we need to keep an eye on, certainly bearing in mind moderation, and these are times of great entertainment, but trying to keep an eye on that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm also reading, because you were talking about like double overtime and stuff like that, so 1 in 8 Canadians are losing sleep.
That's right. So something that we wanted to focus on was making sure that people, if they're losing sleep, so if you realize that, hey, I haven't gotten a lot of sleep because of all of these games, that you're catching up, that you're going to bed a bit earlier the next night if you know you're going to stay up to watch all the overtime periods.
Why am I also noticing in the notes I have here that Toronto people, for some reason, are losing more sleep?
Yeah, that's right. I think we can just leave that right there as Ottawa natives, that I think they're losing sleep for lots of reasons in Toronto.
Yeah, that's got to be difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, hockey feels, I'm reading this too, because these statistics that were sent into me, like, I'm blown away. I'm a sports fan to a certain degree. Like, I don't get carried away to the point that I'm going to lose sleep or because I'll wake up the next day, win or lose, my life's going to be exactly the same. Right?
That's right, but that's not everybody. And there are a certain percentage of people who get so stressed that the next day they have feelings of depression if their team loses. They have feelings of hopelessness, and I think part of that is if your team goes on far enough into the playoffs that you've sort of thought, you know, this has become part of your life, and you think that this is really going to drastically impact your life.
And people are feeling like it's even more stressful than mortgage payments?
That's right.
Wow.
It was equally as stressful as paying your mortgage for those people who got stressed by hockey playoffs. Fascinating information, yeah. I think it bears more research, but really surprising.
A lot more research.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, say the average mortgage payment is like $1,500 or something like that. Is that not a little more important than whether or not Carlson scores a goal?
You know, I think perhaps, but I think for some people, and I just watching my own social media feed last night, the stress in my friends and family over the hockey game last night was really something.
Well, and then the hatred that comes out too whenever things don't go their way or whatever. And let's always blame the refs, or let's, you know, or if you say you're a Maple Leafs fan, then people just sort of like, we now hate you. Like it gets a little carried away. And people are checking the scores like crazy as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was actually in a meeting last night for the first 2 periods, and you could see around the table everyone checking the score on their phones. Yeah, I think that social media and our constant live streaming life has had a real impact on the stress in professional sports. This was studied back in the early 2000s in the UK with people watching their favorite soccer team, football team, and they found that actually the rates of heart attacks went up. And it'd be interesting to look at that now when we're constantly getting the information, constantly getting the feeds.
See, I just turn it off if it gets a little crazy, right?
Right.
Like,
you
know,
and certainly that would be the advice, right? If you're really feeling that you're getting really emotionally invested, if your heart rate's going up, if you're feeling really stressed, then perhaps press pause, turn it off, give yourself a break. Yeah.
I can't believe we're even having this conversation. If you want to be honest.
I know, it's kind of remarkable.
StubHub, our good friends at StubHub are doing something to maybe help out.
Yeah, so they're giving away heart rate monitors like this one to a certain number of their customers. And if you follow StubHub at StubHubCA on Twitter, then you can get yourself a heart rate monitor to see how you're doing. It also tracks your sleep and your steps. So if you realize that you're falling behind on your exercise, using your either your phone or your Fitbit or this heart rate monitor can help you sort of get back on track.
All right, and yourself personally, have you got caught up in this, or as a doctor, you probably realized that?
Yeah, it is a factor in my household. I get less stressed than my husband does.
The face she's making too, yeah.
But certainly I have been guilty of getting less sleep, maybe eating a little less well during the hockey playoffs for sure.
Yeah.
But certainly not maybe getting as emotionally stressed as my husband does. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's worth all the stress to put your health on the line. Go Sens, go at least.
Go Sens, go for sure. I hope we're playing in June.
Yeah. Exciting. Thank you very much, Doctor, for being here.
Thanks so much. My pleasure.
Thank you as well.